media.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. It's inevitable that the Liberals are starting to implode. They're falling in on themselves as rats are even fleeing the sinking ship. We've seen Parliament come to a standstill, and it is expected that Parliament will stay there unless, of course, this week we see some kind of pushback from the Conservatives or the Bloc, or somebody calling for documents that need to be resurfaced in order for us to resume our governmental duties in the House of Commons. Essentially, what's going to happen is Justin Trudeau is going to try to skate out for Parliament to essentially dissolve, as if they're going away on a break or cutting things down. And he's going to ride it out until the new year. At least that's the rumor that's going around, where he's going to prorogue the documents that are due in terms of the green slush fund. Justin Trudeau, of course, not wanting to incriminate himself. What's interesting in the House of Commons is the rhetoric that's coming around, and the fact that Trudeau has to actually escape and leave the country in order to get people's approval or get any kind of happy people around him. We know that anytime he walks the streets of Canada, he is completely obliterated by the public. Nobody wants to have him around. I wanted to highlight this, I guess, statement made by Crystia Freeland as we get into what Trudeau's doing right now, and an alarming amount of money that Justin Trudeau is again giving to other countries that he refuses to help Canadians. Crystia Freeland standing up to say that Conservatives essentially hang around with white supremacists, which is laughable at best. I know I'm chuckling while making a video, but to say that the Conservatives hang around with white supremacists and that they're tearing up the Charter of your rights and freedoms. Now, of course, Crystia Freeland's talking about a woman's right to choose in this speech. I don't weigh in on that because I'm a man. I don't want to weigh in on what women believe is best for their bodies. I always say when it comes to your body, it's your decision to make. Keep in mind, I am an adopted child. So I don't really have a hat in the race. Even despite my own upbringing, my own views on life, I tell that everybody has something different going on and it's not my place to weigh in. However, it's very hypocritical that Crystia Freeland brings up the, I guess, tearing in half of the Charter of Rights from a government that froze Canadians' bank accounts, that is now trying to limit speech on the internet, that is essentially taxing its working class into poverty, and then jailing or blacklisting people for having an opinion. Let's take a listen to what's going on, and then we're going to get on to what Trudeau's doing in terms of money.
Mr. Speaker, there was a lot of shouting while I was speaking from the other side of the House. And that is because they are afraid that Canadians are starting to understand their real plan. Canadians have seen they hang out with white supremacists and don't disavow them. Canadians have seen they are getting ready to tear up the Charter of Rights. And now we know the first right they're going to attack, a woman's right to choose, just like the far right has done south of the border. But we will not let them.
So before Andrew Scheer chimes in, I just want to touch on this, that again, this is again what the Liberals are doing as we inch closer to an American election, is they're using this new person that they brought in to relabel or rebrand the Liberal Party to constantly compare the Conservatives to Donald Trump, Orange Man Bad, MAGA. This is essentially, you heard it there, that they're doing the same as far right American conservatives. So if you vote for the Conservatives in the next election, you are essentially supportive of people like Donald Trump, who, of course, America labels as a horrible person, without any context or proof. Now, again, I'm not going to judge. I personally prefer Donald Trump over Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, but that's a personal preference. Let's take a look at what Andrew Scheer has to say.
The honourable member from Regina Capel.
We'll take no lessons from a government that's trampling over free speech rights by trying to control the internet and control what Canadians can see and post online. But, Mr. Speaker, For random Liberals hoping that when the outgoing Prime Minister finally leaves, a new Liberal leader will rescue them, they're about to be sorely disappointed. Mark Carbon Tax Carney continued his Liberal leadership campaign in the Senate yesterday, where he pushed the same radical agenda, endorsed the current Prime Minister's carbon tax, and couldn't come up with even a penny to cut in wasteful spending. If Mark Carbon Tax Carney won't do it, the current Prime Minister won't do it, will somebody over there axe the tax and fix the budget?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I am really delighted to hear the Conservative House Leader talk about the rights of Canadians and how important they are. I'm a woman, I'm a mother, and let me tell you what the most fundamental right of every woman and girl in Canada is. The right to control your own body. It is time for the Conservatives to stand up and clearly say, are they going to defend a woman's right to choose? Because what we're hearing from them is they want to end it.
So again, what we're seeing here, and one of the things I want to touch on is that the usual Liberal talking points come into play. Crystia Freeland tries to play the gender card of, I'm a woman, so I get it. I understand. What you have to realize here is that this is a distraction. Andrew Scheer brought up a very good point when he talks about Carbon Tax Carney not being able to save a single penny when it comes to the budget, and they're not going to axe the taxes per se. Now, say what you will about question period in the House of Commons, that it's schoolyard antics, that it's children behaving like children. The problem here is that he's made a very good point. The spending will not cease under the Liberals ever. It doesn't matter who's in charge. I'm going to get into that. But first I want to show as Justin Trudeau, you'll notice he wasn't speaking there. Well, it's because he's in hiding. He's actually gone to France because he needs to hide in France in order to find people who actually like him. He can't find anybody on Canadian soil, so he goes to visit his boyfriend over the weekend and hang out with Marcon and spend some money, I guess, some of our money, our Canadian taxpayer money. I'm not going to play any audio because I don't want you to have to listen to Justin's voice. Look how happy these woke left-wing ideologists in France are that just love Justin Trudeau because, well, they don't have to suffer under his regime. Although they're suffering under Marcon, who, again, he's no better than Justin Trudeau. And they're going to find that out very soon. It's important to remember that they just elected him to office, and they have no idea what they're in for. But if what Justin Trudeau has done in Canada in the last 10 years is any indication, get ready, because nobody in Canada loves Justin Trudeau this much. And I got a feeling things in France are about to do a 180. But while he was there, he's not just giving our money to the Ukraine anymore, and he's not just shoveling money around to different parts of the world. Canada announces funding for African countries as scientific research at Francophonie. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is set to announce funding support for French-speaking African countries and initiatives to promote French language in the Francophonie. Trudeau is expected to announce the funding Saturday, which was a couple days ago, as he wraps up his visit at his boyfriend's house in France for the Francophonie Summit. The federal government will direct $16 million to support access to education, women and girls, youth health, and the safety of communities in French-speaking African countries. Here's my question. When is money going to start coming to Canadians? Not just other countries that need Canadians' money. Don't forget, this is taxpayer money. Justin Trudeau isn't giving $16 million of his dollars to benefit people in other countries. No, he wants to virtue signal with our money, our dime, while people are living in tents, while people can't afford their rent, people can't afford groceries, people can't afford to even get to work. Justin Trudeau's just going to hand out $16 million out of the roughly 40 million people who live in Canada. $16 million, if you were to divide that up by every person in Canada, could go a long way. Ottawa is also earmarking $1.6 million for scientific research in French, student mobility, and youth employability, as well as expanding content to a French language streaming platform. Again, he'll give $1.6 million for streaming platforms to put out propaganda that he agrees with. But again, in Canada, he wants to silence the internet and make sure that we don't have a voice, which reminds me that if you're enjoying this content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Leave a thumbs up and a comment because it does help push us out while we're blackballed on YouTube from talking about Captain Tampon in a negative way. Justin Trudeau wants to silence the rest of us with different bills while giving almost $2 million to French language streaming platforms to push their message. Trudeau participated in an armchair discussion on artificial intelligence on Friday, while leaders held a session on challenges for French-speaking citizens in the digital age. Again, it's all just a virtue signaling summit. Foreign Affairs Minister Mélanie Joly says she will have a conversation with Lebanon's information minister during the summit. She also met with her French counterpart on Friday to discuss how to bring peace and stability to the Middle East. Why don't you offer them some money? Because that seems to be the only thing you do these days is spend, and tax the citizens. You really don't have a plan aside from virtue signaling with our dollars. At least that's the way I feel. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think Trudeau is going to absolve Parliament? Do you think he's going to hang on to these documents that we're going to see a break until the new year? Essentially, well, our government essentially can't pass anything. They can't work for us. They can't get any bills to move forward. Our country essentially comes to a standstill. And boy, I don't know about you, but that's going to put us in a great place, isn't it? That's going to make things better. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. If it's your first time here again, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure you're hitting that bar for subscribing. You also hit the bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show, where we talk about everything that's going on in the current world of politics and everything that we know that's coming up ahead. I also sit down with my wife, Mrs. Fringe, and we talk a little bit about what we know that's coming up, as well as hear what you guys have to say outside of making these videos. I always look forward to hearing what you guys have to say inside of those streams, and I hope that you'll join me here on the channel each and every Friday night starting at 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific, here on the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.